Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today the market is absolutely skyrocketing. A lot of things are up a severe amount. Tesla up 7.4%. Unfortunately, not doing as well as I would like it to. I'll be completely honest, right? I mean, with the market being up, the QQQ's up 7.38%. When was the last time we saw the QQQ up 7.38% on a single day? I honestly can't remember, because that is just unbelievable. Like, that is seriously probably one of the biggest increases I can remember personally. Like, I don't know there's been a bigger, right? I mean, maybe this one over here when we dropped all the way down from the bottom to the lowest, I guess that wasn't as high. Anyways, it's unbelievable. Let's just say that. So in my opinion, Tesla should have been up like at least 10% today, man, like minimum, right? But is what it is, right? Let's talk about what actually happened and what we can expect moving forward. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. But let's just get this party started. So CPI came in today weaker, or like not weaker, but better than expected, right? 7.9 was the estimate. Came in at 7.7, which is great news. And jobless claims was better as well in terms of, for inflation. So overall, we got double whammy of good news, and the market just completely skyrocketed, completely destroyed anyone that was bearish at all. Like, absolutely just melted their face out. And yeah, so Tesla looking pretty good. Like I said yesterday, I really want to see the 180 reclaimed, right? I don't want to see the 180 lost. And if it's lost, I do want to see it reclaimed as soon as possible. So you can see on the weekly, we are essentially, pretty much bouncing off of a pretty important level, as you can see, more or less, as you line it up with, all these candle wicks. We pretty much bounced off exactly where we needed to as well for this level right here at 175-ish, 176, whatever it was, right around there, which is great as well, right? That's good to see. Now, on top of that, as we came much lower, we pretty much did a double bottom on the RSI, which is also pretty good. It's not really necessarily a bullish divergence, but it didn't really make a new low, and if it did, it was absolutely minuscule, right? It's almost non-existent, right? It's pretty much the same level, maybe like point like 2 lower, which is like hardly anything compared to how much farther we actually fell compared to this level over here, right, which is about 14%. So that's also important to kind of keep in mind as overall context. But ultimately, what we want to see, not what we want to see, but what we did see rather, is the fact that on literally the highest volume we've seen in quite some time, the most recent one that was pretty much the same volume was all the way back here, where we pretty much had a nice little rally continuation, which I wouldn't be surprised if something similar like this happens here. But essentially what we see is very, very high volume with an extremely green day. And on top of that, we made essentially a textbook hammer candle, right? So ultimately, this is looking quite wonderful. We have an absolutely like huge long wick down at the bottom with a nice little finish pretty much at the top of the day, or the high of the day is where we close, which is also a good sign. Just showing absolute and utter buyer control, buying pressure. We did fall at the beginning of the day, almost back to where we were at yesterday, which was a little bit disheartening to see. But it got bought up really fast, and we pretty much just rallied the rest of the day slowly but surely with the market itself, of course. And ultimately, this is just an absolute face ripper of a rally. The question, of course, is whether or not this is a bear market rally or is the bottom in. That is the major question. Hard to say. I wouldn't call the bottom in yet until we see signs of the bottom actually being in. And I think the first thing that you want to see for the sign of the bottom being in is we want to go higher than this level of 237. If we can go higher than 237 and go, let's say, to 250 or something like that, maybe even as high as like 260s, right? If we can somehow rocket there, and then as we come down, we don't go any lower than this low here, and we actually set an actual lower low, a higher low, then you can argue the bottom is in. But until something like that happens, you really can't make the case for the bottom is in for sure, right? It can be likely. It definitely has a possibility. It's not something that's a very high probability just yet. You want to see like actual confirmation as to what I just mentioned to really kind of get a better idea that, okay, yeah, maybe the bottom is in. One thing that we could potentially get on this overall downturn is we can get a potential inverted head and shoulders, right? That is definitely a possibility. So we have the left shoulder here. This could potentially be the head, and there's a potential that we can set up the left or the right shoulder somewhere around this level as well, around this 200 level, right? That's also something that's a very high possibility of happening, in my opinion. So ultimately, this is a very bullish day, very bullish reversal, just a beautiful textbook hammer candle, which is exactly what you want to see, which is one of the best signs of a reversal, in my opinion. Not financial advice, make your own decisions, just my opinion, of course, just my thoughts. But it is an absolute textbook reversal signal. Now, this doesn't mean that tomorrow has to be an absolute green day and it's only green from here. We could still get a little bit of red, but ultimately this should mean that as long as we, in my opinion, hold 180 and don't break below 180, this should mean that the reversal, it should be here, man. Like this should be what we were looking for, right? I've been talking about the hammer candle for some time, and there were so many times where it felt like we were about to have it, but it just always kind of faltered at the end of the day. This, to me, is what I've been waiting for. This to me is a beautiful hammer candle. This to me is the thing that I personally have been calling out for so long, that I've been just wanting to see, right? Pretty much what we had here, but this happened at a part where we already rallied, which isn't ideal. You want to see something like this or like this after a massive downturn, right? And this is exactly what we got. So far, so good. So far, I don't want to, count my eggs before they're hatched, that saying. But as of right now, and as it stands, and as it looks, it's looking pretty damn good. I like that. And I like the way it looks, right? So after market, you can see we're already up as well, looking pretty bullish as well. So yeah, we have a lot of things that got out of the way, guys. We have a lot of earnings that are done out of the way. We have the CPI out of the way, which ended up actually being good news. The jobless claims came out and ended up being good news for the market, at least, and inflation specifically. So we have a lot of like this kind of, midterm elections are essentially done, right? Which is fantastic. So a lot of this kind of uncertainty, more or less, has been put aside. It's now a certainty, more or less, right? Which is good, which is a good sign, right? So far so good. And there's, I think, a lot of room for the market to get a beautiful rally, for SPY to go to at least like this gap fill, in my opinion, of around like 410-ish, right? 411, something like that. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what kind of follow through we get, but this is pretty much a textbook start to the reversal that you would want to be seeing if you are a bull. If you're a bear, this is absolutely not what you want to be seeing, and you really need to destroy that pretty much tomorrow, I would say, in order to ruin any hopes of the bulls really coming in hot here, swinging. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing at the very moment, guys. Now the question is, how far up can we go, right? But the easiest way to think about it is, let's take a look at this, because in my opinion, this was a swing high. This was, in my opinion, a decent potential swing low. So far, so good. So what level can we go up to, right? Assuming we're still in an overall downtrend, in my opinion, the first level I'll be looking at easily is 200. I really want to see 200 get broken, right? Followed by 207. These are the two main levels I'm looking at. If we can break above 200 and then also 207, and we can actually break above those things and stay above them without just collapsing instantly, great sign. I think that's going to be the first step that I want to see for a true like trend reversal. As of right now, this could be a bear market rally. We'll see how high it goes, but the first key level I'll be looking at is 200. I want to see a break above 200 and ideally above 204, which would be the potential left shoulder, key point, if you will. And that's kind of what I want to see. The most ideal scenario, if I had to just kind of play it out in my head, let's fast forward, let's say a month or something like that, maybe even 2 months, I don't know. But the most ideal scenario that I would want to see is an ultimate overall rally, not like obviously straight green, like nonstop, but like, ultimately I'd want to see a rally, whatever long it takes. So I don't know why it zigzags like that. Back to somewhere around this level of around, 230, let's say, right? I'd want to see a rally back to 230, most likely get rejected, come down to somewhere around this level to get the, same level that we got, support over here, which is around that, 200, 204-ish level, and then bounce up, make the left shoulder, the head, and then here they'll make that right shoulder, and then we break above 230. That would validate the inverted head and shoulders play. It would break above this key level that we need to break above, being 230, and I think from there we can really start talking about an actual reversal. But this to me is something I would personally be hoping to see happen. Will it happen? Who knows? No one knows for sure, right? If someone tells you that this is exactly what's going to happen, they're absolutely bullshitting you, because no one actually knows. However, this is what I'm personally hoping will happen, and this is my current prediction, keyword prediction, right? But ultimately, we need to see how this follows through. But if this is something that you wanted to see as a bull, and if you are a bull, this is the kind of start, and this is the kind of promise right now that you want to be seeing. So this is looking good. This is looking promising. This is looking bullish. This is looking like the reversal seems to be literally pretty much more or less here. We just need some follow through, and that's all we're looking for. But either way, guys, let me know what you think down below. Hope you guys haven't panic sold. Right after yesterday's video where I talked about don't let emotions take it into control. Don't let emotions decide what you're doing. Look at it from a logical aspect. Hopefully none of you panic sold yesterday, because this today is something that you'd be looking back and going, my God, what have I done, right? If you sold yesterday, especially at the bottom, you'd be looking at today and be like, wow, I really fucked up. Anyway, that's it. What I personally did, if you're curious about my positions whatsoever, I actually did sell a little bit today, just a little bit. I sold a small portion of it that I bought at 191. I told you guys I bought at 191. I sold that for a very small loss. I sold that like 189, I think it is. But the reason I did that is simply just to de-risk, right? I want to have that money aside just in case we fall lower. But just if it happens, it happens. I'll have cash ready to buy as well, on top of the reserve I've talked about. But on top of that, I also want this cash as a potential hedge. Well, I'll enter maybe puts on the SPY and or Tesla, just in case, as a potential hedge if I do see an actual rally happening here, just as a hedge, because you never really know this market, right? It's always better to be safe than sorry, in my opinion. So that's essentially my current. Other than that, I'm still pretty much in all shares, other than the little bit that I did sell, which was like a small portion of the overall total. just has a small D risk. But either way, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.